What up, guys? It's MXMiKEMX here. Gonna do something a little different. If my schedule allows it, I'm gonna try to do this weekly. Though I'm gonna do a Throwback Thursday of some of the tracks that I've won on that I have recorded in the past, and just to change stuff up a little bit. And so, uh, before we get into our first Throwback Thursday track, which is of my first win in this game, we have to go way back, all the way back to Mad Skills Motocross, which was released on the Mac in 2009. And you could only play it on a Mac device, a laptop, or a desk computer. And I didn't own one at the time, though my girlfriend did. So you could buy it for about $30 if I remember correctly. And so I got permission from her to download it onto her computer, and I only got to play the game whenever she was around. Now, I first found out about Mad Skills Motocross when through Racer X, actually, because they were affiliated with Mad Skills Motocross and they were advertising it. And I just remember, feeling absolutely in love with the game the very first time I saw it, because it reminded me of my childhood favorite game on the Nintendo system, which was Excitebike. So I was very excited to finally get to play a side-scrolling motocross game again. Back then, it looked a little different. You couldn't play anybody online. You could only play the computer and or your Ghost, if I remember correctly. There was a track editor that you could build tracks, and pretty much you wanted to lean back, keep the front wheel up. As you can see, the graphics were very different, the physics were different, and the bikes could break really easy. So, if you overjumped something, the bike would break in half. And so from 2009 to 2011, you could only play Mad Skills Motocross on the computer. So when it was announced that you could, or that they were coming out with a Mad Skills Motocross game for the phone, I was ecstatic. Now, when it first came out, you had to have an Apple device. You couldn't play it on Android. And so I just remember, I think it was like they announced it like a year before it came out on the iPhone. I just remembered like not being able to wait. And so in January of 2011, they released Mad Skills Motocross 1 for the iPhone. And I was so ecstatic because I no longer had to wait to play the game when I was around my girlfriend. I could just play it on my phone all the time. And so for about the first year that Mad Skills Motocross was out on the phone, you could only play career tracks. And I think they had 52-ish career tracks at the time. And about a year into the release of the game, right around 2012, they came out with the first ever Jam tournament, which was one track over a week period. And the format was a lot different. You could only race the person directly above you. So you couldn't go and latch on to somebody else's time. You couldn't watch their replay. You couldn't see what they were doing. So if they were doing something better than you or a better line, you just didn't know. And so it really separated people. And sometimes you would get stuck doing the same lines or at the same speed as the person above you, and so it really made it difficult to climb. Eventually, they released Mad Skillz Motocross Blitz, which was a light version, since memory on phone devices wasn't a whole bunch. Not everybody wanted all those career tracks that they never played on their phone, and so they came out with Mad Skillz Motocross Blitz, which you could play the jam, and you could play, I think a few career tracks. And so when I first started at Jam, I thought I was going to be absolutely amazing. And I was wrong. Very, very, very wrong. I couldn't even score inside of the top 1,000. And it was very, very disheartening to me, and it was a big eye-opener. And so I became determined that I was going to get good at this game. And I set my goal to make top 1,000. And then I set another goal eventually to make top 500, and then 400 and 200, and eventually to 100. And I made sure that once I met my goal that I wasn't going backwards. So if I got a top 100, there was no way I was scoring outside of that top 100. And over the 2 years that Jam was out for Mad Skillz Motocross 1, I was eventually able to work my way up to making it into the top 10 consistently. And you couldn't see the leaderboards like you can now. You could only see the top 10 in the world. And so that was really important to me, to make it into that top 10. And I know what you guys are thinking. Who is that person in the number 10 spot? Is that our Iceman? And unfortunately, the answer is no. I believe Iceman 1997-32 didn't start playing the game until Mad Skillz Motocross 2, from what he's told me. Eventually I was able to make it to the number 2 spot, which was my best finish. Though on a weekly basis, I was in the top 10 consistently. And what was both amazing and frustrating about that was the guy who's sitting in number 1 spot, which is Master 52. Master 52 won every single jam for 2 years straight on Mad Skillz Motocross 1. He went undefeated, and everyone wanted to beat him. I remember there being accusations and people accusing him of cheating, all the way until he eventually posted a YouTube video of a recording of him playing the game just to prove to people that he wasn't cheating and that he was that good. And so when I got the word that Mad Skillz Motocross 2 was coming out, I was determined that I was going to win. He was unbeatable in Mad Skillz Motocross 1, though I had been told that the physics were changing and that the game was going to be completely different. I was like, okay, there's my shot. Everybody's going to start on a clean sheet of paper. This is going to be my opportunity. And that leads us to our very first Throwback Thursday track, which is my first win ever. And this one really stood out to me because I became the first non-Master 52 player to ever take a track win in a jam. And it really showed that Master 52 wasn't unbeatable. And this win has always been my coolest win for me because I had worked so hard for so many years just to beat him. And this was the time that I was able to do it. And on the Mad Skills Motocross 1, it wasn't really advantageous for you to press forward on the game. Though in this game, you could press forward and let the front wheel soak up the jump. And though it wasn't as fast as wheelie scrubbing the jump, it still helped you keep your forward momentum going. And I had never seen anybody do that before, so I'm not sure if I'm the innovator of that. I just know that I figured it out really early on, and I had never seen anybody else do it, and so I started doing it. And it really helped give me a shot and a chance at beating Master 52, because he was amazing at holding a wheelie, and no matter how hard I tried, I could never keep a wheelie up like he could. And so, yeah, it just was pretty cool, and I will forever remember this win. It was my first win, and I was able to get it done. And I remember thinking to myself that I've done it. I've finally done it, and I am going to start winning more races. Finally figured out how to beat Master, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. Master 52 was a force to be reckoned with in the early days of Mad Skills Motocross 2, which came out in 2014. And so, without further ado, this is the Throwback Thursday track. Yeah, and so that's a lap of our first Throwback Thursday track. I do remember that though I grinded at this track, I got really lucky with these last few taps, and that I didn't wheelie backwards or loop out here and was able to get the wheelie scrub. I remember that being absolutely complete luck. Normally these bikes were very, loop out heavy when the game first came out, and so, definitely got a little lucky, but very grateful that I was able to get it done. And guys, if you like this type of content, please, like and comment below if there's anything that you want to see or me to talk about, during these videos. Please let me know. And if anything, guys, please like and subscribe. That really would mean a lot to me. And we will catch you guys next time.